Hi children, how are you all? Hope you all are doing good. So, welcome back to another session. In previous session we discussed about asexual reproduction. So, in asexual reproduction, what are the different types of asexual reproduction in animals we discussed, and even types of asexual reproduction, which is nothing but we call it as a vegetative propagation in plants. We discussed about that. So today I want to discuss about sexual reproduction in flowering plants. How the plant shows the sexual reproduction. As like vegetative propagation in plants, we can find a sexual propagation or sexual reproduction. So in the early stages, the plants are just leafy or in a vegetative phase. That means very soon of growth of the plant, we doesn't see the flowering nature of the plant, no. So vegetative phase, and they grow and reproduce or are in reproductive phase. So these when they started to produce the flowers, that phase we call it as a reproduction phase. So flower is the sexual reproductive part of the plant. So sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So in the early stages, plants are just leafy or in vegetative phase, and when they grow and reproduce or are in reproductive phase, the flowers are born. So now you can see there are, we can say that flowers are the reproductive parts of the plants. So you can see the different parts of the flower in the structure of the plant. So sepals, carpel, stamen and petals. So generally these are the different types of the parts of the flower. So the major category of the flowering organs or the floral organs are reproductive organs of the female, reproductive organs in males, and non-reproductive organs. In this mainly three categories the flower is divided. So the reproductive organs in female, we can call it as a gynoecium or carpel or a pistil. So the carpel or a pistil consists of stigma, style, ovary and ovules. So the highlighted parts you can see. The carpel can also be called as the pistil. It is a female reproductive organ. So its female reproductive organ consists of the green line, you can see stigma, style, ovary and ovules. So next, generally the flowers brightly colored reproductive parts of the plant. Why they are very colorful? Due to the presence of chromatids. The stalk of flowers is called as pedicel. You can see the parts. Swollen flat tip of the pedicel forms the thalamus. So generally the floral parts bears the thalamus. The thalamus bears the floral parts. So it carries the stalk-like structure is called as a pedicel, and the swollen part is called as the thalamus. And the flower consists of sepals. The green color parts are called as sepals. So these sepals, they provide protection when the flower is in the bud condition. When the flower is in bud condition, the sepals protect the flower. Okay, so all the sepals together form a calyx, and the petals, different colors of the petals. These petals in flowers we used to find different colors, which are in different colors to attract the insects for the process of pollination. So the different colors of petals, corolla, all the petals together is called as a corolla line next to the sepals. So they are usually colored to attract the insects to the pollination. So as they are in different colors, the insects will be attracted and they will be collected to the pollination. Stamens or androecium are next to the petals. Each stamen is made up of stalk-like filament. So you can see here stalk-like filament stalk-like filament and a flattened knob like another anther. This anther bears the pollen sacs. That pollen sacs produce the pollen grains. You can see the pollen sacs and the pollen grains. If you cut the anther to the transverse section, you can find the pollen sacs. The pollen sacs bears the pollen grains. So stamens represents the male part of the flower. Okay, stamens we call it as a carpel and pistil as a female organs, and a stamen is the male reproductive gamete. Coming to the carpel. Carpel or a gynoecium is the female part of a flower and forms the central part of a flower. Carpel shows basal swollen ovary, middle elongated style, upper knob like a part called stigma, and ovary bears ovules which are converted into seeds. So the fruit enclosed and protect the seeds. So here you can see the stigma, style, ovary and ovules. The stigma bears or facilitate the process of pollen grains, pollination. So germination we can see there. So transfer of pollen grains, and it holds the participation of the process of pollination. The pollination is the initial state of the sexual reproduction in the flowers. And the style helps to transfer the male gamete. Protrusion, when the pollen grains reaches to the stigma, they started to secrete a pollen tube. So it helps to transport the pollen tube. In pollen tube, male gametes travels towards the ovary, and the ovary it facilitates the process of fertilization, and the ovule is converts into a seed. So here you can see all the parts of the female reproductive organ. And coming to the male parts, a typical stamen has three parts: filament, anther and connectives. So the anther holds the pollen grains. So the filament facilitate the connection or the catching of the anther. So each stamen generally has a stalk called as a filament. In Latin, phylum is a thread. Phylum is a thread. There may be a variation in the length of the filaments with the flowers. So in all the flowers the filaments are not same. Okay, as in a salvia and a mustard. In a salvia and mustard, if you find also, we can find different types of the filaments. So on the top of the filament, anther. In Greek, anther means feminine of antheros. So flowers form anther or the flower and pollen sacs called microsporangia. So the tissues between the locules and the cells is called as a connectives. So we can see two types of flowers basing on the reproduction. We can see two types of flowers, that are unisexual flowers and bisexual flowers. Flowers that bears either stamen or a pistil are called as unisexual. That means the flower may consist of either stamen, male gamete, or a female gamete. Only one type of gamete present. Such flowers are called as unisexual flowers. So example, papaya, watermelon. These are the examples of the unisexual flowers. What are bisexual flowers? The flowers which bear, these are some of the examples of unisexual flowers: papaya, cornflower, cucumber. These are the unisexual flowers. And here you can see the bisexual flowers: hibiscus flower and mustard. So the flower which consists of both male and female gametes. In a flower we will find male and female gametes. That the flowers are called as bisexual flower. Here you can say that the bisexual flower consists of four whorls. Generally the flower has calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So in some flowers we used to find, in unisexual flowers we used to find only presence of either male or female, which means one whorl is absent. So such a flowers are called as incomplete flowers. And in bisexual flowers, all the bisexual flowers, they consist of 4 whorls. So such a flowers are called as bisexual flowers, as well as we can call them as a complete flowers. So in a incomplete flowers, we can see male flowers and female flowers. So if the androecium is present in a flower, and gynoecium is absent, such a flowers are called as male flowers. And if the flowers doesn't consist of, if the flowers consist of gynoecium, such a flowers are called as a female flowers. So the incomplete flowers are nothing but unisexual flowers. In unisexual flowers, we can find male or female flowers. And complete flowers are bisexual flowers which are having both male and female gametes. So they are called as complete flowers. You can see here the anther consists of the pollen grains. It is a male gamete, and the female gamete the ovule. So the ovules are present in the ovary. The ovary consists of the ovules. So in sexual reproduction, both male and female gametes fuse together. This process is called as a fertilization. The process of fusing male and female gametes. In the picture you can see clearly transfer of the pollen grains. So from the anther to the stigma. So the process of transferring the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma is called as pollination. And here the male and female gametes fuse together and forms a zygote. So the process of fusion is called as a fertilization. So the pollination, how the pollination takes place? The insects are the pollen agents. Not only insects, birds, air, water, these all are comes under the agents of the pollination. So a pollinator is any agent that transfer the pollen from male to female reproductive parts of the flower of the same plant species. So the agents which transfer pollens, they are called as the agents of the pollination. So the pollinators includes the wind, water, insects like moth, butterfly, bees, beetles, bats, birds and other animals. So here you can see the picture represents the co-evolution of a hummingbird. So it has a long narrow beak which is able to insert narrow floral tubes to aid the pollination. So they are injecting the pollens. So by this also, this is some of the evolutionary part which facilitate to the transfer of the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma. So now the pollination is of two types, that is self-pollination and cross-pollination. The transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma. The transfer of the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or to the stigma of another flower on the same plant. So transfer of the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or the flower on the same plant, another flower on the same plant, that is called as the self-pollination. What is cross-pollination? The transfer of pollen grains from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of the same type. So that means plant may differ, flower is the same. That means plant means same species or the same type of a plant, and it is another plant. That is a cross-pollination. So this pollination can be termed here. The transfer of pollen from the male anther to the female stigma is called as pollination. So there are three types of pollination. Autogamy. First one is autogamy. It refers to the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to stigma of the same flower. So in a clistogamous flowers, that's the same flower, another and a stigma lies close to each other and favors self-pollination or autogamy. That means in bisexual flowers we used to see. So here in bisexual flower, pollen grains and the stamen are side by side. If the transfer of the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma is taken side by side in a same flower, that is called as autogamy. Then what is geotogamy? See, the flower you can find. For one stem, you can find two flowers. Okay, so in geotogamy, it transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of different flowers of the same plant. Different flowers of the same plant. So that is called as a geotogamy. Then what is the third one? Xenogamy. That is nothing but it is a cross pollination. It transfers to the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the flower to different plants. So that is the same variety but another plant of the same plant, same flowers. Okay, that is called cross pollination. That only called as a xenogamy. So these are the different types of a pollination. So after the pollination, we used to see the next step is a fertilization. So the process of fusion of male and female gametes to produce zygote is called as fertilization. So fusion of male and female gametes. So after fertilization, the ovary changes into fruit and the ovules develops into seeds. So after completion of the fertilization, the ovary, it is a very important bit in the exams, most probably regularly used to ask. Okay, so the after fertilization, ovary changes into fruit and the ovules develops into a seed. So this is the process of fertilization. Now let us see. In plants we can see pre-fertilization, post-fertilization and double fertilization. So what is happening? In pre-fertilization, the events in the sexual reproduction of the flowering plants includes microsporogenesis and development of the pollen grains. The first one is. Next one is megasporogenesis and the development of female gametes. These two parts involved in the pre-fertilization. See here how the pollen grains are transferring from the anther to the stigma. Inside the stigma you can see the pollen grains develop the pollen tube, that yellow color. Through the pollen tube it reaches to the ovary. So through compatible pollination, the pollen grains germinates on the stigma to produce a pollen tube through one of the germ pores. So the contents of the pollen grain moves through the pollen tube to reach the ovule in the ovary at its micropyle end. Micropyle end means the end of the ovary is called as a micropyle. So pollen tube then enters one of the cynogytes through the filiform apparatus. Cynogytes are the cells which are inside the ovary or the embryo sac. So they reaches. So in this manner, when these pollen grains, very soon the pollen grains reaches to the stigma, they started to secrete a pollen tube. So through the pollen tube, inside the pollen tube you find formation of two male nucleus, male nucleus 1 and male nucleus 2. So these male nucleus, first male nucleus reaches to the ovary, even second nucleus also reaches to the ovary and it forms the fertilization. So here, previous to the fertilization, we can see microsporogenesis, development of the pollen grains. The formation of pollen grains or the development of pollen grains is called as a microsporogenesis. Then what is megasporogenesis? Development of a female gametophyte. That means development of a ovary. So after that, reaching the male tube, that means pollen tube generate two male nucleus. So the pollen tube releases the two male gametes into the cytoplasm of the cynogyte. So you can see inside, that is the ovary, structure of the ovary. One male gamete fuses with the egg cell, resulting the formation of diploid zygote. Diploid means two sets of chromosomes, thus completing the syngamy. That fusion, first fusion is called as a syngamy. So the first male nucleus fuses with the egg nucleus of the ovary. So this process of fusion is nothing but is called as a syngamy. Other male gametes fuses with the two polar nuclei, that is the second polar nucleus, to form the triploid primary endosperm. So generally the secondary nucleus consists of two nucleus. So the male nucleus fuses here and it becomes as a triploid primary endosperm nucleus. So this termed as a triple fusion. This fusion is called as a triple fusion. But generally, how many fertilizations is taking place here? One with the egg nucleus, one male nucleus is with egg nucleus, and the second male nucleus with the secondary nucleus. So here you can see 2 times fertilization. So that fertilization is called as double fertilization. So what happens in double fertilization? Generally, when the double fertilization takes place, first egg nucleus, the male nucleus fuses with the egg nucleus, it develops into a seed, which is called as a embryo. And the second male nucleus fuses with the secondary nucleus of the female, which is formed in the form of endosperm. That is nothing but develops in the form of a fruit. So the fruit protects the seeds, or the seeds are enclosed in the fruit. So after double fertilization, we find the post fertilization. So this fourth fertilization consists of endosperm development, that is a fruit development, embryo development, that is the seed development, and maturation of ovules into the seed and ovary into the fruit. So the seed, so the ovules develop into a seed and ovary develops into a fruit. So the primary endosperm cell divides repeatedly and form a triploid endosperm tissue. The primary endosperm develop into a fruit, makes into a number of cell divisions. Okay, next the cells of the tissues are filled with the reserved food materials and are used for the nourishment or a nutrition of the development of the embryo. So it also produces the food materials for the embryo. So let us see how the embryo development. Zygote divides into mitotically. What is a mitotic division? Doubling of the cells. One cell divides into two cells divided into 4. When it divides, it doubles. Okay, that division is called as mitotic division. From a globular heart-shaped mature embryo. So you can see here a embryo. It is a globular heart-shaped structure. So an embryo consists of, what is the structure of embryo? An embryo consists of axis. In picture you can find the axis part of the embryo and 2 cotyledons in dicots and 1 cotyledon in monocot. You can see what are the cotyledons. In picture all the parts are given. So the portion of embryonal axis above the level of cotyledon is the epicotyle. The part which is above to the cotyledon is called as epicotyledon, and which terminates with the plumule or stem tip. So this epicotyledon, it develops in the form of a stem in the seed, from the seed. And the cylindrical portion below the level of the cotyledon is hypocotyledon, that terminates as its a lower end in the radicle, that is grows into a root tip and develops in the form of a root. So this is the structure of the seed, how it grows. So seed of fruit and development. So the fertilized ovule becomes the seed. So the integument becomes the wall of the seed called a testa. The wall of the seed, the outer cover of the seed is called as a testa. Mature seeds can be of 2 types, that are albuminous and non-albuminous. So albumin, it's a type of a protein. So if a fruit is a mature ovary with the seeds inside it. So a fruit, well matured fruit consists of a seeds. The wall of the ovary becomes wall of the fruit called a pericarp. So the wall of the fruit becomes as a pericarp. The pericarp of a fleshy fruit consists of endocarp around the seed. The material which present around the seed is called endocarp. Fleshy portion of the seed is called as mesocarp, and the skin, the cover of the, if you take an apple, the skin is called as a exocarp. So in this manner the fruit will be developed. So in a structural manner you can find a double fertilization. How the double fertilization? You can see here the flower, androecium and gynoecium. So the pollen grains, pollen tubes. So they are fused here, and one is developed into a zygote, and one both form into a zygote. One develop into endosperm, and one is develops into a embryo. So in this manner the sexual reproduction can be seen in the flowering plants. Hope you understood, children. Okay, so the structure first we'll see the for pollination, next fertilization, next we can find the process of development of a fruit and a seed. So double fertilization, pre fertilization, double fertilization and a post fertilization. Worksheet is given, children, you can make it out, and you can collect the information about, you collect different flowers, and find out that what are unisexual flowers and bisexual flowers. Okay, children, hope you understood well. See you in the next session.